in Vegas right now, about to be catching my flight going to Bulgaria. I'm gonna keep you guys updated. I'm about to catch my plane to LA right now. Not every store is open right now, only a couple for some reason, but I'll keep you guys updated on the journey. Yo, so I'm chilling in the LA airport now, waiting for my flight for Amsterdam. Just met a cool guy. It felt like a synchronistic moment, and I might explain a story about that later. But I'll keep you guys updated. Peace.
So basically, when I went to LA, I met these two brothers that were headed to Stockton, California. However, they had to get on two separate flights to get to their final destination, and I got to speak to one of them more than the other. I pretty much sit down after looking at the screen because I had to wait in the airport for 5 hours until my next flight to Amsterdam. And I see these two skater dudes, so I sit next to them because I'm a skater too, right? Before I even sat down next to these folks, I already had a deja vu moment that I knew I was going to meet them. So we talk about skating for a little, and I show them my Instagram so they can see my footy. And one of the bros goes on his flight. So I get to chatting with the other bro, and I eventually ask him what does he think of higher dimensions and if there could be another parallel reality on the earth where everything unifies and gets together. And he tells me that he believes in that as well, and that at some point, maybe 30 to 50 years from now, that everything on earth will be mixed. And I ask him what does he mean by this. He tells me that all people from different lands and different places will have gotten together and basically mixed. We also spoke about where we came from before our flights, and I was telling him that I was from Vegas and that we had protests going on there and other stuff due to the pandemonium. And he was telling me that where he was in Hawaii, it was like an actual paradise and nobody was paying attention to the fact of what was going on, and everybody was still going outside having fun, surfing. That just goes to show that there's probably ley lines on this earth where things can function in a less dense matter and away from societal norm. This makes me think about how in one place the energy signatures may vary from other places, just simply based on to how people live their lives and decide to react to outside circumstances and situations. That makes the collective of different ley lines or places on the earth different. At one point, I was speaking to him about how I thought that as you go up the scales of these dimensions, you have your physical body, and then you go into maybe a sort of water body. And I mentioned a quote where Bruce Lee said, "Be like water." And then from that, you probably would go up to a light body. And I was thinking that after that, maybe in the ninth dimension, you become a pure crystal, like those crystals or big trees that were chopped down that connected us to the higher realms. And when I spoke to him about the Bruce Lee quote, I noticed that he had Bruce Lee grip tape, so I thought that was cool.
Amsterdam airport. Next flight is Bulgaria. It's a common punctuation of people telling me to wear masks and things, but people need to get with the program that it's unnecessary, and people need to basically just breathe that ultimate life force prana and get with the new earth vibrations, man. I like wear the mask half-assed anytime they ask me to put it on, and it's really no problem. I think it's funny. It's like they want to enforce the law, but they don't really care about it at the same time. It's just something I've noticed while flying in the last 2 flights. I'll let you guys know what's good when I get to my final destination. Peace.
So before I made it to Bulgaria, I was speaking with some grandpa on the plane that was speaking about that there would be a 14-day quarantine period when we got there. However, there was a news announcement that said that that would not be taking place. And then some other person on the plane said that they might have messed that up and that it would be another 14 days after. But upon arriving, it was actually pretty chill. Like, there was no need for that, and they didn't even tell us that we needed to do that. So it made me think that I'm on a more optimal or positive timeline where I don't have to go through that. Maybe I just got lucky, I don't know. According to other Bulgarians that recently came back, they had to get their foreheads scanned at the Bulgarian airport, and that never happened to me, so I must be on a different timeline. And I noticed that on the bus ride back home to Schumann, I noticed there was like a UFO cloud that I'll show here right now. But yeah, man, I made it back home safe. I noticed on both of my 2 flights, the one overseas and the one back to BG, that the planes were full, so there are people still flying around in these times. But thanks for watching. You guys stay safe, focused, and balanced. Peace.